So women like tension. That's why they watch dramas, and they will create drama if there's no tension. If you're just working and you're not giving her any emotional energy, she will create problems for you. So it's better if you're the one controlling and creating that tension.
I know it's a bit of a taboo subject sometimes to talk about, sex in a relationship. Is there a perfect number?
How many times should you be having sex a week? That's what you want to say. Just say it.
There's no other reason a man would come to me to open up everything that's going on in his life unless he's not getting the sex he needs in his relationship. He's at a desperate point.
Do you have a favourite sport?
I enjoy yoga, Pilates.
It's not a sport.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Taking the lead.
Yeah.
Every man has the same question. The situations are not unique. You know your job very well, but in terms of being a husband or a partner to a woman, you have never had that education. Maybe you've watched your father, or you've watched TV, you've watched Hollywood, you've watched pornography. This is all the reference men get. Hollywood, happy ending, pornography.
Happy ending. Still.
Pet peeve of yours, something that really pisses you off.
People who will not go out of their framework, even if it's to help you.
So females.
That understand.
Let's connect.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have you on another episode of the Connect podcast, and today is going to be an interesting one because we know a lot of people in business are also in relationships, and we thought it would be appropriate to have Sasha join us today. And Sasha is a men's relationship expert. So a few things that we've seen in the past with Sasha's content has been very, very interesting, and we think it will be incredible value to our listeners. So Sasha, if we could bring you in.
Welcome.
Welcome
to the show.
I'm excited for this one.
Who is Sasha?
Well, the professional Sasha is a relationship coach for men. I'm the creator of the Mind Heart Method, which is the program that helps men to save their marriage in 90 days or less, or meet the right woman, bring in the right woman of their life. So that's Sasha on a professional level.
How do you get into something like this, Sasha? You don't just fall into sort of coaching men, right? Like, how did this all happen?
Yeah, it's a good question. I never planned to do this. So in a way, I did fall into it. So I worked in the corporate space. I worked with in a lot of male-dominated industries. So I was used to working with men. And then at a certain point, I did a lot of personal development. I went overseas. I ran away overseas. I actually had a TV show. So that was my dream, to be a TV host, we produced a show. But I got to a point where my life sort of looked like the vision board, but it didn't feel like it.
Okay.
So I just sort of thought, like, what's gone wrong? Why didn't I get there? So it kind of started my personal development journey. And then I ended up living in Sydney, and I was working in corporate again, working with a lot of male executives. And a lot of my clients, bosses would actually come to me for advice. So what I'd find is a lot of men, achieved a lot of success in their life, financially, in business. They sort of had the same level of stress from when they first started, when they were just sort of grinding and making it. And actually the real stress, it wasn't their work. So men, like a little secret thing, which you guys probably know, men love their stress at work. But actually the real stress that they were coming to me with, particularly when I started to coach them, was their relationships.
So, yeah, we off camera, we talked about, men having a healthier relationship with their work, but then not having that same relationship at home.
And being able to deal with the stress a lot better.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Why, as busy professionals, can we navigate through our day-to-day, but then yet at home life, it's not the same?
Yeah. So what is this healthier relationship with work?
Yeah.
I don't know if men have a healthy relationship with work.
Yeah. It's interesting because, some, I would assume, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, like some really enjoy what they do, right? They wake up with a kick in their step.
It's like they excel. It's like they excel in their career, but then at home, they're not excelling as much as they're excelling in their career.
Because you can deal with the stress. Like, you want to be uncomfortable and stressed in a way where you feel like you're growing in the business. But at home, to be stressed and having issues in the relationship, it's not a good thing.
Well, we push back on that.
Yeah, I guess work is a place where you've got problems and you know how to solve them. right? You're using skills that you've developed through your life that are natural to you. In your relationship, it's likely that no one's ever taught you relationship skills, especially how to deal with a woman, her emotions. That's a problem you don't know how to solve. So when a man doesn't know how to solve a problem, he will go into avoidance. And so this is when maybe a healthy relationship with work becomes an unhealthy relationship, because he avoids his personal life and he throws himself into work out of avoidance. And actually at this point, this is where men get into burnout. Because yes, men are designed to produce. They're designed to overcome challenges, to meet goals. But you get into burnout, not even so much from overworking. It's from a place of, I'm running away from something, right?
So you think men sometimes are hiding a little bit at work or through their work?
You guys can tell me.
Yeah, I'm learning today. I'm learning. No, but you know, there must be men out there that do that, right?
Yeah.
That they
look,
spend extra hours at work, and it's questionable.
When I wasn't self-employed in the office, some guys used to make sure they left after 7, so after bath time, after dinner time, so they didn't have to
not return home.
So when they get home, it's just to tuck their kids in, be the happy dad, the nice dad at the end, and then start the day again the next day.
That's strategic.
Yeah, it's just very strategic.
And it's avoiding the chaos, that stress. So the feminine is chaos. And it's actually not natural for men and women, especially with young children, to live together in this way. Like, we were never designed to live together. So for a man, there's science around this, but when he lives with a woman, with children, especially with young babies, his testosterone drops. So on some innate level, he is trying to prevent that.
So you lose a little bit of masculinity.
Well, you lose a bit of your oomph, yeah. So at work, you've got problems, you've got challenges, you've got other men. So that's going to increase it, right? So this is a hormonal thing that's happening as well. And so most relationship problems are not so much things that we're arguing about or what we're thinking. It's actually hormonal. Our hormones are out of balance.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, you mentioned divorce rates and things like that. Like, how do we be better husbands? Like, what is it going to take for us to want to come home? You know, or not we. I shouldn't say we.
Are you saying you don't want to go home?
How we word it?
Yeah. You can tell. You're very.
Tiptoeing. I like.
Yeah, you're tiptoeing on every question. He's thinking about how he's saying it.
Word it. But no, I'm talking for those that feel like that.
Yeah.
They want to be a better husband, right? They're married. They've committed to that relationship.
But they feel it's a brick wall. Like you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Every time you try to do something, or the tactics. Like, do you have techniques that you know? Even when you're teaching them, do you find that? Like, is your success rate 100%? Or are people trying these techniques and it's still not getting anywhere?
So these are really good questions. Every man has the same question, pretty much, right? You're not alone in this, or guys who are listening. I get the same questions over and over again. The situations are not unique. They follow a pattern. Why? Because, you know your job very well. You've done it for years. You've been educated in it. But in terms of being a husband or a partner to a woman, you have never had that education. Maybe you've watched your father, or you've watched TV, you've watched Hollywood, you've watched pornography. This is all the reference men get about relationships. Hollywood, happy ending, pornography, happy ending.
Still.
So that's all bullshit.
You think social media builds like a false sense of security, like to what we see, like it's,
But even like you see a lot of these people that are posting happy family, happy holiday, and then 2 months later going through a separation. Yeah. You know, it's like trying to mask what they're really going through because they feel like it needs to be Hollywood, needs to be that perfect image.
Yeah.
What is the perfect marriage then? Like, what is the perfect marriage?
Is there a blueprint? Is that what you're saying?
Well, the perfect marriage is where both people feel an attraction towards each other, pull towards each other. There's trust, there's loyalty. The woman is cherished and the man is respected.
Now, a lot of the time, I don't know the stats around this, but men cheat, right? Do you think it's because, we're the hunter-gatherers? Or is there something more to it? Coming down to that respect, coming down to that, I guess, that attraction. Why do guys, tend to cheat more?
Well, there's a lot of things that we're told, especially in the media, that men are like this, women are like that. A lot of that is societal conditioning. Not all men cheat, right? From the men that I work with, so most of the population, we're not talking about your 1% men with loads of money, no social skills, right? We're not talking about like Dubai and all these areas. We're just talking about normal guys, right? They want routine. They want comfort. They want loyalty. They want the same thing over and over again. Like, you like your habits, you like the same things. Yes, there are men that cheat. From the clients that I've worked with and the research that I've done, it's usually not because of the physical act itself. It's usually because of, a sense of lack in terms of validation, not getting, I guess, that kick or that dopamine from their wife. Because look, when you come home to a woman every day and she's washing your underwear or something, she might not be looking up to you like this. And that's really what the man is going for. He's going for that sense of validation. Okay. But you want to try and create that at home. That's essentially what you want to do. And then you won't really need to go outside the relationship, I don't feel.
You mentioned before, men like to be respected and women like to be cherished. What do you mean? What's an example of a man to be respected by his wife and a woman to be cherished by her husband?
Yep. So essentially, for your relationship to feel good for both you and for her, the woman can't look down on you. You get a sense when someone's looking down on you, right? You would agree with me.
It's hard for me because
he's quite short, so that happens often.
My personality.
Little man syndrome.
Yeah.
Little man syndrome constant.
Okay, bring it down, Paddy.
It doesn't have to be physically. It's just, when someone...
Figure of speech, yeah. We're picking on him because he's short.
Yeah.
But
Okay, we've moved on.
Okay, so
yeah?
1.3.
As you were saying.
Your partner can't look down on you, even if you're a bit shorter. She should, She also can't look at you at the same level. You actually can't be partners, right? That's going to kill the polarity. It's going to kill the attraction, right? And that's a lot of the couples I work with. Maybe she doesn't look down on her husband, but she doesn't look up at him. Once she starts to look up at him, once she admires him, once she's following his leadership, she actually feels cherished.
This is a challenge.
Yeah.
Because, there's a lots of powerful women in society, especially nowadays, right? And we've been building women
shift.
up.
There's a balance.
Some women don't need men anymore, right?
And to be honest, the advice that we hear is that it needs to be more equal, not what you're saying. So what you're saying is the opposite of what women are hearing. They need to speak up more. They need to be more dominant. They need to,
a woman can't pretend to respect you. That's the whole thing. So there's a lot of, this movement of we should go back to the 50s where women didn't have to work. And that was the easy way. Obviously, a woman's going to look up to you. She's going to try and manipulate you. That's why women are manipulative, because they haven't had rights. They haven't had their own power. So they have to find ways to try and get what they need from you. Is that respect? Not really. Like, the thing is now men actually have to work for a woman to respect you, right? Yeah, you can be the breadwinner. Yes, that will start the process. That helps. Obviously, you're taking care of her, you're protecting her. But really, this is the stage of where, we are at in our relationship evolution. Men need to begin to learn emotional intelligence, right? Being present. A woman can always sense your fear. That's why she doesn't respect you. Okay, so you need to overcome your fears within you and not be afraid of her as well. So she's going to respect you. Doesn't matter if she makes more money. Does not matter.
Do you think she can sense a man's fear subconsciously, or is it conscious? And it's
our instincts.
Every woman can sense that?
So on a conscious level, maybe not. Okay, maybe you've hidden it well with bravado, but on an unconscious level, that's how we're designed. A woman is much less stronger than a man, so we were gatherers. Women are very intuitive. They feel things. That's why it's sort of, women are crazy, because what is she feeling? She doesn't know what she's feeling because it's not connecting to her mind, but she's feeling something is off, right? So really, if a man has a lot of stress built up in his nervous system, he's not screaming, he doesn't look stressed, he looks calm, cool and collected. But if she's feeling all of that built up resentment, all that anger he's suppressed,
everybody knows.
Well, she will feel unsafe. His nervous system is signaling lack of safety. So she feels she's in danger. Can he protect her? Is he going to attack her? Like, these are our instincts where we're really just animals for the most part.
It's interesting. Like, we talked a little bit about intimacy and obviously males having, that physical attraction, whereas women need that more intimate. Like, how do guys connect with their feelings more? I would find that, the guys that I'm chatting with would probably struggle a little bit on that emotional level.
They can't even do it with mates. They're very hard to share their emotions, share their feelings with mates, let alone their partner.
And that's natural, right? So it's a myth that a man needs to start to express all his feelings, share it with his friend, share it with his wife. Your partner doesn't want that. She doesn't want to know all your feelings. That will make her feel unsafe, especially if they're uncontrolled. But you must be able to feel your own feelings. You can't be numb to your own feelings. If you're numb to your own feelings, you're numb to your instincts, your natural masculine instincts. Those instincts will tell you she's being disrespectful. This is unsafe. This is wrong. If you cut off from those instincts, you're living in your head. And then you're not present. You're not there. That's when your relationship starts to fall apart.
This is very interesting because it's like you're saying the opposite of what society is saying, how a man should get into his feelings and get vulnerable and start opening up to his wife and getting into his emotions. So you're saying, a person stays conscious of their feelings, but keep that away from the wife? Or
feel your feelings, right? A lot of men have to learn to feel their feelings again, especially if they're living sort of, you're on the computer, you're very mental, you'll be in your head a lot, right? You're cut off from this part of your body, your lower part of your body. So you need to feel your feelings. What are you feeling? But then you have to contain your feelings, because if you're not contained, you're going to emotionally vomit all over the place. Your wife doesn't want that. It's like her girlfriend. She's not going to be attracted to you. She's not going to feel safe. And also, you're dangerous. You can be explosive. You can be out of control. Like, a lot of men in jail, they feel their feelings, but their feelings are coming out in not the safest way, right? So it's not that men don't have feelings. They don't feel them. Men have a lot of feelings. It's just men are not socialized or conditioned to actually work that emotional muscle, right? You go to the gym, you know how to work those muscles, but we also have an emotional body, and nobody really talks about it. You have your mental body, your mental muscle. The emotional muscle is what needs to be developed.
Is society losing masculine men?
Yes.
is there hope?
Yeah.
Is there hope? Is it? Right,
because I feel like sometimes it skews more towards too much of it when they try to fight back. And then we have these Andrew Tates coming out, and we have, societies creating like a very opposite effect of what an alpha male should be.
This is all new stuff, right? A man only used to ever have to protect, provide, and not beat his wife. Okay, even if he has an affair, that's fine. So this is a new stage where women have protection from the government, they have financial protection, and they want more, right? In Australia, America, that's usually most clients that I work with. We're living like at the 1% of society. Our survival needs are met. Once that safety security is met, right? This was sort of the transactional relationship. This was our mothers, our fathers, maybe a lot of relationships today, codependent relationships. Now we want to go into thriving. We want to feel. We want to connect. We want to feel alive. That's the next stage, right? So we need emotions. We can't completely cut off from them.
I feel like in today's world, we're the most confused as a society ever in history on what we need to be feeling emotionally and what men need to be like and what women need to be like.
Right? Like, it's just confused. How do you connect? Are we yin and yang between, female and male? Like,
so much confusion, and everyone's feeling it, but it's as if no one's saying it, because then there's society, there's social expectations, and then there's traditional expectations, and then there's...
But neither work, right? Neither work. The traditional one doesn't really work. The modern one doesn't work. It's because we don't have the right information, right? The right information is around. We actually have a lot of misinformation, and it's not even so much the new social media stuff. It's the movies we grew up with. It's the dialogue we grew up with. what do we really grow up with? We grow up with American movies, mostly if we live in Australia. Like European movies don't always have happy endings. They mostly don't, right? All American movies have happy endings, fairy tales.
Disney.
Yeah, Disney, and pornography is the same. That is the same for men. There's really no education, understanding of what a man is, what he needs, what a woman is, what she needs, and how they go together. It's two different species. Biologically, we're completely different. We have different needs. What makes a man feel good and happy actually makes a woman feel stressed. They're two different things. So we need to understand each other and then understand how we're going to live together in harmony.
Because the divorce rate's incredibly high right now. I don't know what are the statistics on this?
Well, we thought it was 50%, but I think it was 25%, 30%.
Yeah, somewhere.
But in this room,
That's Australia.
I'm divorced, so it kind of goes with the national
offset
stat.
1,
Yeah.
2, 3, 4.
Yeah. And I've been happily married for 10 years this year.
Yeah, okay, stop. You can at least blink when you say it. Okay. But like, in saying that, some of your teachings and what you say are more skewed towards a male, right?
Well, I coach men, so I actually don't coach women.
Okay.
Do women come to you?
Well, that's what I was going to say next, which is what if a female takes this as a threat? Why are you getting this advice when I'm right? Like,
Well, do men come to you on the side without speaking to their partners?
Yeah, look, a few women have come to me and said, I really want my partner to do this. How can I do this? But it only works if the man is taking initiative, because on a biological level, the man is the natural leader. So if she's telling him to do it, he's not leading this.
so is that a Mr. Nice Guy wife coming to you or partner coming to you?
Well, it's only she is a very, in control woman to be finding things, and she's mumming him. But look, I understand why she would want to do that. Yes, some men don't tell their wives, and that's fine as well, because if you're going to have this amazing end result, well, what's the issue? Some men do, but really, I work with the man because that's all that's needed to get the results, right? So you guys actually have the power, right? You have a lot of power. You just don't have the right information or the right tools.
Okay, so what does that look like? So if we're in control and we're the ones that are in control of the end result, what
I taught Kat, she's in the RP sphere.
Yeah.
And everything in the RP sphere is like a benefit, just like NRMA. Yeah. Like you get the benefits, you get the networking, you get my presence. And I remind her every week, I always say, how lucky are you?
To be in the sphere.
To be in the sphere.
Yeah, I'm sure she loves
You don't even need NRMA. You don't need all those things.
are you charging?
Qantas Freakers Fly program.
How much are you charging her?
I'm like Lynx. Stay on. Sorry. We'll go back.
I completely forgot my question, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds like a good program.
Yeah. I think we've
Flip it.
come in this sphere. With the dating coaches is one of the questions I had. So different to yourself, you're a relationship expert, whereas a dating coach, well, what's the difference? Well, tell us what the difference is.
Yeah, so look, some men come to me after they've done counseling, after they've worked with a male, say, dating/relationship coach. Really, I help men to save their marriage. That's most of the work that I do, or to get their wife back, right? Either way, they need to get their wife back, but sometimes they're living in the same house, sometimes they're not. So it's quite different to a dating coach. A dating coach might help a man get his confidence back, say the right line. It's sort of, the first part. However, what a lot of men do notice when they work with me, the married ones, is they become a lot more attractive to other women. Right. So if you know how to be in a relationship, you can, the woman that's seen you for 20 years, if suddenly she becomes more attracted to you, then you have no problem dating. Right. You're kind of getting to the root cause.
Double-edged sword, right? Because then now you just got to shoo them off at the same time while still trying to say.
But see, that's part of the attraction. Women are attracted to men.
Confidence. They like the confidence.
So women are not attracted to men who are all there everywhere. So what is actually very attractive about a man, so women never say what they mean. Women are never going to tell you these things because women never say what they mean. That's the number one thing to know about women. Whatever she says is not what she means. Don't do it.
That's awesome for us. Like, that's just easy to navigate through, right?
But what women are really attracted to is a man who doesn't need anything. He's not trying to get from her. He's not trying to get sex. He's not trying to get validation or from other women. Right? Then she comes to you. And that's what a lot of men have been conditioned out of, because they grow up on pornography. They grow up on all these types of things. So they're like thirsty, desperate for something that their body actually doesn't need, right? And a woman will always sense that as being unsafe.
That's interesting.
What's the most common problem you see with your clients, your male clients? What's the most common problem you see across them all?
Yep. So wife-pleasing behavior.
What does that look like?
So it's doing everything to please your wife or appease her, but actually not giving her what she really needs. Right?
It's interesting.
So they're avoiding actually giving themselves to her or being fully present. So it's like a child. You know, if you don't see your child all the time, you might give them a lot of presents. You might start to spoil them because you're not really there. But what that child really needs is your presence. And this is the same with a man. And actually, a lot of my clients actually tell them that they have to start to look at their wife through this process as if she was your daughter, right? Almost treat her like a child, because this is the stage where she's at now. Right? And you've enabled her to be at this stage. Yeah, so they need to switch it from her leading, because she's leading and he's just giving her everything she needs or what she's saying she needs. He's not leading anymore. So essentially, my work is about making sure the man is the leader. So the man is the natural leader, but it's giving him tools on how to communicate with her, how to be, to manage his emotions, to feel his emotions, so he can lead again in the relationship.
So wife pleasing would be the most common. And what are there any other ones that are up there with that?
Well, there are more issues, but those men might not come to me at that stage, right? There are definitely a lot of issues. So you might be a workaholic, right? So she doesn't have any real power in the relationship. Usually I work with those men. The wife pleaser is also a workaholic, because that's a great place to avoid your wife, is at work, what you guys were saying before. But then the workaholic is usually not paying any attention to his wife. So usually comes to me when they're already separated, when she's called divorce. That's when he starts thinking, okay, something is wrong.
Now, how do you come back into the communication side of things? Because like you said, they're already potentially done.
Yeah.
How do they come back from, is it that 90-day course that you have, is that very specific on being able to get back into just talking terms, for example?
So a lot of counseling, relationship theory it talks a lot about communication, right? Communication is not going to solve any problem, okay? Because you need to build the attraction first. The attraction has to occur first before you can then start to talk to each other again. This is why a lot of the clients I work with, they've already done couples counseling, and it tends to make things worse, because it brings things up, but nobody knows what to do with those things, because the core of the issue hasn't been resolved, which is there's a lot of built up resentments. The attraction has gone away because of that resentment, and they just don't understand each other at all. So the communication tools that I work with are really simple. So a man has to always be correcting and directing his wife and asking her leading questions. He always needs to be asking her about her feelings. A woman needs to...
Did you say correcting her?
Yeah.
Okay, because I find that is the not on. Because I feel like some females shut off when you correct them. Or they see it as you are treating him like a kid, right?
Well, if you corrected her more, you wouldn't have to promote yourself as much.
I don't have to.
Your job would be easier.
I'm not saying me. People.
Pretty sure you said I don't know.
But how do you know she wouldn't like that?
We'd see it in their eyes.
Yeah, we'll try tonight when you say
So women like tension. That's why they watch dramas, and they will create drama if there's no tension. If you're just working and you're not giving her any emotional energy, she will create problems for you. So it's better if you're the one controlling and creating that tension.
Oh, talk more on that. That's good.
Well, if you are just always, if you're in a partnership where you're looking eye to eye with her, you're always just talking about things in a business-like manner, the way you talk with men, with no emotion. This is what I think. This is my judgments. She's not in her feminine. A woman is all about feeling. And you're not going to be attracted to her if she doesn't have any feeling in her. If she's just business-like, cold, she can be super attractive, everything. But if she has no feeling, no emotion, she just doesn't look alive, you're not going to feel the attraction. What you need is to have her in her feelings. And feelings are also tense feelings, like she's been pulled up on something. So this is something I say to men because it's likely you haven't read any romance novels, but every single romance novel is the same, and it's giving you the secrets of a woman's subconscious. Okay. There's always a bad man or somebody who's overpowering her. She's the good girl. He's telling her what to do. He's putting her in a container. This is a restriction. He's forcing her to do things. Finally, she gives in and surrenders, and they live happily ever after. And
Daddy.
raunchy scenes in there. That's it. That's it.
That's what comes back to the daddy.
Yeah.
You got to be the daddy in the relationship.
It's interesting. You talked a bit about like females enjoying a little bit of drama, right? Where, you know, as business owners, many men don't particularly like drama, right?
Sure. Because you're taking risk in business. There is risk. There's a bit of excitement. You like drama, but you like it to be in a certain category. There's dopamine, there's adrenaline.
Yeah. Not when you get home.
Not emotional, not up and down, not like that.
Yeah.
Because that's where your safe space, should be your hot time to come home, switch off, done with that.
I agree with that. Like when you go to work, we problem solve, right?
Yeah.
But we problem solve around the skill sets.
Tension.
Yeah.
You want to see that stuff on maths. Like you want to come home and watch trash TV and see that and feel better about yourself and go, I'm not dealing with
That's where I was leading to with the drama.
So it's positive tension instead of negative tension. A lot of couples have negative tension in their relationship because there's not enough positive tension, right? Positive tension, it's like a strings on a guitar. It's firm. It's it makes a nice sound. If the strings aren't firm, if they're not tight, it's not going to make a nice sound. So
what's an example of positive tension?
Well, positive tension is when you're feeling there's a sexual charge in the air. That's positive tension. Negative tension is when, there's conflict, people are upset, there's resentment, right? So positive tension is like excitement, something's about to happen. That's positive tension.
Like I said before.
So some of the shows that men are forced to watch at night times when we go to switch off, like if I actually listen to some of those shows, it's a lot of drama, a lot of divorce, a lot of bickering between, females at a table. That's what, and correct me if I'm wrong, that's what I see, right? That ladies enjoy watching those particular
like trash TV.
Yeah.
Do ladies like enjoying trash TV because there's some sort of subconscious connection to wanting to be exposed to drama?
There's emotions. It's up and down. Women want to feel emotions. They want tension. They want these things.
Is that healthy for them to watch that type of stuff?
Well, it's probably not the best, but the thing is that's why you need to create that tension within your relationship, right, within your life, so you don't have to project it onto a screen, right?
How do we stop that?
So it sounds like you're being tortured.
I watch every episode of every show. You throw one at me, I'll watch it. That's her time to relax, obviously, when we finally make it to the couch.
Something I'll give you a little tips. While you're being tortured, you might want to do something useful. Okay, this will be positive for your relationship. You might ask her, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about what's going on in the show? What do you feel about that? Right? Get her to share, get her to talk. She probably wants to talk about it. She wants to comment. Nobody really watches the show. They just want to comment on what's happening.
That's exactly what she says, my wife. She says, I'm not actually really listening. It's just like she's almost numb to that.
Yeah, like Kat will complain about, it's so stupid. This is the stupidest thing. And it's like, but we're watching it every night. And we're complaining
Or you can start an argument. You can say, but you do that. And then, I don't do that. You do that. And then it creates an argument.
Have you done that?
I've tried it, but it's not. No, but we often watch these particular shows, and that's what she enjoys to watch. So I get forced to watch them too. But I do think I'm listening on and off and think, wow, it's like very drama filled, I worry that it gives because I'm a believer that, we intake things in our life, right? I'm a fitness coach. I tell my guys, be careful what you're scrolling through, be careful what you're watching, make sure you're reading certain types of books. Like, we're trying to educate ourselves all the time. When I'm watching this, it's her way of switching off. But for me, it's like...
It's not switching, it's a release. She needs to, women release their stress by sharing, by venting, by talking. That's why the most important thing you can do is ask her, what are you feeling? Right? If you ask her that before you watch the show, she might not even...
It might even be that she feels better about her relationship. She feels better about, look at that. Look at what's that. I'm lucky I'm not like that.
Well, talking about all this, it's like the conflict is obvious. The clash is obvious. It's the male logical brain and the female emotional brain. So how can that work?
Are we always meant to clash?
No, not when you're the natural leader and you're in your instincts. Things will really how to lead a woman, you know that instinctively. You've just forgotten because you're living in the modern world, right? Very mental, switched off to, your feet aren't on the ground. You're not in your instincts because society and stress has told you certain things. So instinctively, you'll know when she's emotional, but she's being disrespectful. It'll hit you in the gut, right? You'll feel that feeling. In that moment, a man will usually get defensive or be like sort of a teenager, get frustrated, or he'll avoid and he'll just give in. Both of those are bad. In that moment, what needs to happen, because he's the leader, right? So if you're a leader of an organization, if your employee acted like that, you would pull them up. You would have a discussion. You would correct them and then direct them with what to do. And you might, if you're a really good employer, you will coach them into how to be better. That's what you have to do with your woman.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of men, and I've had this conversation with a few people where they've mentioned to me, man, she's just been doing my head in.
Yeah.
I've just learned to just nod and just say shut up. And just
Because you try.
And agree. I'm not going to get.
You've tried several techniques.
They're emotionally exhausted. They're exhausted with just how
you're tackling her logically.
Yeah.
Women don't say what they mean, and you're listening to her thinking logical, man. Oh, let me solve her problem. How do I? It's not about that.
It's like they find it easier to just give up on that conversation because it's just not worth it and it's just exhausting for them. So you're saying that's the wrong way to do it?
Well, because they haven't been to the emotional gym. They don't work their emotional muscles, so they're going to be weak in that department. And if you're weak, you're going to surrender and you're going to give up your reins to the woman. And she's going to be very, very resentful because of that. She will not want to give you physical intimacy, and that will be your life. And many, many people live this way, and it's hell.
Sasha, a lot of what you're saying is very, very interesting. And I can only imagine how many people out there listening to this conversation or other conversations or bit of your content would find it controversial. What do you think about that?
Potentially, but I mean, that doesn't worry me because the people who need the help, who are looking for that information, it resonates with them. They'll usually find me and they'll follow my content.
Do you get a little bit of hate online?
You know what? Not too much, really. Like, it's pretty clean. Maybe one woman who has sent me something nasty, a few men, but not really, not really. It's pretty clean, right? Because my intention is clean. I'm just sharing things that are based on the work that I've done, what I've seen, and most men will resonate with it. That's why they work with me, because they realize that's me, that's my problem. And the hardest thing for a man is to actually express what the problem is. So if I'm giving him that information, that already, is half the solution.
Talk to me a little bit about intimacy. I know it's a bit of a taboo subject sometimes to talk about, sex in a relationship, but I think we should actually discuss it more often, but is there a perfect number?
How many times should you be having sex a week? That's what you want to say. Just say it. Don't tiptoe around it.
There's no other reason a man would come to me to open up everything that's going on in his life to a stranger, to me, unless he's not getting the sex he needs in his relationship. He's at a desperate point. He is trapped. He's being held hostage. That's why men do this work.
You think that's got to be a common reason, right? Like that.
That is the reason.
Is that the root cause?
That's the reason why a man will say, okay, something's got to change. Or unless she just calls divorce out of nowhere. But usually there's no intimacy for a while before divorce happens. People will go a long, long time without sex. The thing is, we don't know what goes on in other people's relationships. What you see on social media, even your friends, you don't know what's going on in their relationship between two people, right? It's a very complicated, it's like there's another body. There's them, and then there's a relationship, right? It's a whole another species. But yes, that's the reason a man will usually do this type of work.
And then some females say that they have a low level of libido. Can you touch on that? Like, do they actually have a low level of libido, or are they unattracted to the man, right? Like, are they to that particular?
He's not inspiring her to feel that attraction. He's not inspiring her to intimacy. So for a man, everything is external, right? So he doesn't need a lot of inspiration for intimacy. For a woman, everything's internal. So she needs to be led into intimacy.
We talked on the last episode, someone mentioned about the honeymoon stage that came up.
Jeff,
I think that was Jeff.
actually, you were on Jeff Morgan's, or Jeff was on your.
Yeah.
They talk about the honeymoon stage and trying to continue, because people say, oh, we're past the honeymoon stage, and that's like a thing. But we talked, trying not to let that ever go. Like, why does the fire have to leave the relationship? Why can't it be the honeymoon stage all the time, where you create that?
It's too scary for people. People are afraid of those emotions, right? Passion is a very intense emotion, right? It's linked to anger. Like in Australia, we have a lot of domestic violence. There are a lot of crimes of passion everywhere, like women dying, abused, everything. This is a scary topic. And it's linked to our instincts. So in order to have children, have the business of family, have an income, having everything working, sometimes having passion is too dangerous. So people give that up for a while because they don't know how to balance it. And then you create a family, you create all these things, but then you realize that the glue is missing, right? So, sex is the glue that keeps a relationship together.
So you think it's a very important part of a healthier relationship?
Well, unless you want to be friends or housemates with a person.
But do you think? Oh, sorry.
Well, on that note, let's say, how can a man stay attractive to his woman after 20 years, 30 years in marriage? Because there'll be elements, and I can only imagine it will be phases in and out of the relationship, but there'll be elements where we'll just turn numb, and it's like, it's our everyday sort of life.
Because like you said, we want that same thing in routine. We want all those things, and we think everything's going fine. Whereas the female, on the other hand, might want that excitement, want that passion, want something.
Well, initially she wants the safety as well. But the thing is, especially in Australia, we build these kind of gilded cages of our safety. We're living in the safest country ever. We have everything we need. But if you keep building on that level, you're never going upwards. You're going horizontally. There's only so much you can have of that. It's like if someone's hungry and you're throwing luxury bags at them, they will throw them back, right? So your first level is you need to provide and protect as a man. But the next level, it's emotional connection. And the way that she can stay attracted to you, because that was your question, she needs to respect you. She needs to always be looking up at you, which just means she respects you, right? You're leading her.
So first was provide and protect. And what was the second one, sir?
Emotional connection.
And you had a big D energy.
Yeah.
I was watching that one. I like that one. Can you go through that? Because that I think that relates to the P's.
Yeah. So big D energy, a bit of a play on words. It's big decision-making energy. So a man needs to be making decisions all the time. That's what a CEO is. He just makes decisions.
Yeah.
Right? He doesn't do the admin. He doesn't do anything but makes decisions.
So we shouldn't ask, where do you want to go for dinner? We should be saying, we're going for dinner here.
Yes. Or you can give her two options.
Yeah.
But you are deciding. You create the plan. You will want to know what her feelings are, because her feelings are important. You're the leader. She's like your 2IC. She's your alarm system. She's always feeling for things that you can't feel, right? So you have compatible skills, complementary skills. You're very different, but complementary skills, right?
Stay there. Business partners that are in relationships together. I am in, you are too, right? We run a business, and our partners are our business partners.
Mm-hmm.
I dare say that they would, I don't know.
It's weird. Look, it's a dynamic thing.
Yeah.
That's what I've noticed. It's a dynamic thing because me and Serena have, she's come into the business about maybe 8 months now. I've had the business for 11 years. So there had to be a shift in dynamic. I was a bit sort of conscious of it. She was a bit conscious of it. We're a bit curious to see how it's going to work. There's been ups and downs. I wouldn't have it any other way, by the way. But it's just a weird clash of dynamic. What do you think would be the best sort of way to approach being in business with your spouse?
Because she's just connected to the mission as yourself. That's what I was trying to articulate. She wants the best for the business. So you're on the same mission, yet, you have to also be in a relationship together after you clock off.
I don't think it can be a positive thing. So maybe I'll ask you guys, what are the pros or cons working with your partner or having your partner in the business with you?
Are you flipping this right now?
Yeah. So there's a full flip back to us. No. I can answer.
Something a little bit more specific.
Yeah. I mean, having my wife, and I didn't want to make it all about us, right? But there's others that are probably gone through a similar situation. You know, having your spouse on the same mission is
Answer
great.
the question.
I am.
Yeah.
She asked what the pros are. I
So
said,
it feels great because she's on your mission.
Yeah.
Right. So that's every hero movie. The man's on his mission, the woman's following.
That's right.
So in that way, that's perfect.
yeah, we, you know, we're both different people. So she has different directives on what she believes the business should look like. I do too. I think that's a pro to me, where some would find that they would clash in that scenario. I actually think it's great because she sees things from a different lens to me.
Yeah.
So we've often together come up with the best outcome for situations that we've had to navigate
I
through.
think partners, like couples, are the best business partners because you're already running a business. That's the business of your life, of family. So why wouldn't you be great business partners? Right.
Okay, that's what I was. You know, do you think it's a good thing or not? Because interestingly, you know, in some cultures, we were told, you know, when we had this conversation before, that it's not good to do that. You know, don't get into business with family or your partner, or you know, because it's risky.
Well, you need to have trust. It means you need to put more focus on your relationship. You can't get away from things. You can't run to the office, right? Because your office is essentially with her. So it means you have to be more conscious about your relationship, right? There's more to lose if things don't go right. So there's more reason to make things work. And you have to be more conscious of the partnership and the dynamic. So I think it can be a very positive thing if the man is being the leader in the relationship. Right, it all comes down to that.
So is that a lesson for some of the female business partners that, you know, let the man lead a little bit?
It's not let the man lead, because if she's letting you lead, you're not the leader.
Naturally lead.
So that's the whole thing. That's sort of the difference. We should go back to the 1950s. Men, no. If you're a weak man, yeah. But the whole point is you're trying to get stronger. You're trying to get better. And that's why you usually choose a partner that is going to trigger you and is going to bring up things in you, because that's how you evolve. So you need to be leading, and that will be confronting for you because she might reject your leadership. You'll have backlash. There'll be emotional chaos.
Well, if you're trying to switch, like what if you are the Mr. Nice Guy and you come and see someone like yourself and you're getting told these things? How do you shift the pendulum or shift the balance of, hey, this is my new persona, this is how I am?
Well, that's the mind heart method is all about that. So they might come in as Mr. Nice Guy with all their fears, their avoidance, but at the end of the 90 days...
Become the badass motherfucker.
Don't take no crap off of no one. Once again,
they're stepping into their leadership. So it doesn't mean he becomes more genuinely kind, but he's not trying to please her. He is in his leadership. He knows what that means.
Is that cool for you as a coach to watch that transition in a man?
Yeah, because I have them, they send me messages when things happen, so I'm sort of in their corner. But yeah, it's great when out of nowhere they get a response that they didn't think they were going to get. So maybe it's time where they need to start providing some correction and they'll feel really uncomfortable or being more dominant. And it's scary, right?
Yeah. Would you prefer your clients to come to you before it's broken? Like, is that ideal, or do you...
My ideal vision for this is actually teaching men these skills in organizations when they're young. And it's sort of like a compulsory training, right? Like you do certain training before the issues occur, right? I
love this. We talk about our A-team often, like having your A-team around you in certain parts of your life. Might be your fitness, in fitness, finance, you know, in trade, having people around you that
you can always call upon.
And continuing to build your network, because we're all about that, you know, and making sure that, you know, you have the right people in your corner, you know, because I'm sure there are many people that need to, you know, do the 90-day workshop with you and could save their marriage. You know, I truly believe that if they put some effort and working on it with someone that's a specialist in what they do, we can fix these things, you know. The divorce rate's pretty high.
So it's not even the divorce rate, it's the suicide rate. Suicide rate's going up. The mental health is becoming a big thing. Is because men are scared to talk about things. And if they've tried, like you said, your mate, they try, it doesn't work. What do I do? I switch off. Well, who am I battling with? My own head. And like we've had a lot of young guys that have, you know, committed suicide. They've got kids, they've got a wife.
Yeah, it's a scary topic.
You don't know were they someone that could have, you know, had these skills to be able to stop that from happening.
Yeah. it's like the way I see it. It's like learning what I'm learning now. It's like there's an internal conflict from what social expectations are and what we've been told to be like as a man versus what our natural instincts as a man are. And that incongruency is what starts playing with people's heads, with making their decisions when dealing with their wives or dealing with their businesses and that sort of thing. That's the way I understand it now. Is that sort of...
Yeah, for sure. Like the human body is like very complicated. We are the best piece of technology, but we don't get taught about our emotions, our feelings, what to do with them, how we regulate them, particularly men in Australia. There's also not a lot of religion or spirituality. So everything is focused externally. And the worst thing is when you do reach those external goals or you have those things that apparently, why did this guy commit suicide? Everything looked fine. It's because the internal stuff wasn't regulated. He just didn't know how to operate the machine. It's usually not, so suicide is very taboo and it's like people are very touchy around it. But with a man, it's not because they're not strong, they commit suicide, just the feelings. Men have a lot of feelings within them, right, that are pushed down. So if they don't know what to do with them, they don't know how to contain them, it just becomes overwhelming, right? And with some simple tools, emotional mindset tools, things can switch very quickly. Like the way that this program was developed, I worked with a medical company. So I worked with a very wide range of demographics, different types of men, and people who are alcoholics, drug addicts, a lot of abuse, lots of things going on, their mindset can shift very quickly with the right tools, right? So in a marriage, someone you've been with for many, many years, someone you love, it can be surprisingly simple, the shift, but you need to take initiative and you need to get the tools. You need to get the information because you're just missing information. That's it.
I feel like we can go on and on about this, but...
While you doing like guest speaker roles, or like I feel like you need to be on stage somewhere and like teaching people this stuff.
Do you want to manage me?
Yes, I'm done.
I do have a question. I have a question now regarding business, because now if we're going to dive into how we can work towards making men better men, after this whole process, how have you seen it affect their businesses?
Yep. So it depends what stage people are at, but so guys that, sort of maybe at just an executive stage, what will happen when they work on their emotional side and they become a little bit braver with their wife and step into their leadership, they'll usually go into a leadership position pretty quickly. And maybe they've been trying to ask for a promotion for years. They will just become noticed because they change, right? Men who are CEOs, I work with a lot of CEOs. What happens is all the energy that they've used suppressing their emotions and what's going on at home now gets freed up. So they can make a lot more, have a lot more impact by doing less, right? So our emotional energy is everything. We create everything from us. It's not so much what we do. That's very much the masculine view of the world. It's what we're doing creates our results. But everything, all the energy you're using to suppress things is actually limiting you. So yeah, it's a direct impact to your finances and your business.
That's interesting. And I think in the interest of time, we probably should start wrapping. But I think we need to have a second episode.
Yeah, Sash.
I'll say one last thing in terms of that, because you work with a lot of male business owners. We have energy centers in our body. So our sexual energy center, right, that's related to love, connection. It's the same energy center for money, right? It's the same thing. So if you've got blocked energy at home in your sex life, you have blocked energy in your money and your business.
Let's go. So at the end of every show, we like to just shoot some, quick fire questions, and you got to off the cuff answer those. And then we'll wrap up the show with our event. We're going to the...
Yeah, we're off to the Connect event today. Sold out, which you're joining us for, so it should be exciting.
So it should be 100 plus people in the room today. Business owners, entrepreneurs, it's pretty special.
Brad and Dan, we're sorry. We had a great episode.
They'll see. All right, ready? Let's go, Sash. Find Sasha, man. Ready? No, it's not called that. We just made that. So beach or country?
Beach.
First car?
My first car, it was a Toyota Celica.
Hey.
That was one of my favorites.
Dropped or just normal?
I don't know. My dad looked after him. Couldn't tell you those things.
Do you have a favorite sport?
I enjoy yoga. I used to teach it. Yeah, Pilates.
It's not a sport.
Okay, sorry.
Taking the lead.
A hobby, that's...
Yeah, beer or wine?
Wine.
Favorite cheat meal?
I don't really play by the rules that much anymore, but yeah, dessert. I love dessert.
Yep. Do you have a bucket list, something you want to achieve?
Yeah, I think I've achieved a lot of it, but the final one is to have a very happy relationship and family.
Yeah, nice. Pet peeve of yours, something that really pisses you off?
People who cannot read between the lines or will not go out of their framework, even if it's to help you.
So females.
I understand. Well, I do work with men, so maybe, yeah.
At a party, do you dance or are you a people watcher?
Dance.
What's a guilty pleasure TV show?
Oh, I don't know if it's a guilty one. I find it educational. I love those documentaries that they're doing now on celebrities, on Schwarzenegger, Pamela Anderson, Trump,
love them.
that stuff.
Do you have an unusual superstition?
Oh, yes. I do. So I'm from a Ukrainian-Russian background, and I almost did one here where we're not allowed to sit on the corner of the table.
Oh, really?
So, yes.
And you didn't want to bring that up?
Well, I asked you guys, and you said I could sit here, so that made me happy.
There you go.
It's interesting.
If you're a snack, what would you be?
Can we get rid of that?
I don't know.
This was
Let's get rid of it now.
This was
Ask these questions. If you're a snack,
But we'll answer it for the last time.
Okay, can I be a drink?
Yeah, anything.
whatever you want.
A spicy margarita.
Spicy margarita.
Two more questions. What do you obsess about?
Personal growth and love.
Oh, love that. And then the last one, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
That's good. I don't know.
Married, walking down the aisle.
I don't think that far ahead. Not sure.
Huh? Okay, cool. All right, what last question from Pat?
We got one last question. We usually end every episode with it. If you were to bring 3 people to a dinner, those 3 people could be anyone from the history of humanity or your current life. Who would those 3 people be and why?
It's a very complicated question. I would say I would want to have a purpose for the reason why I'm talking to those people. So I would love to speak to people who have a lot of influence with men in industries maybe like military or sports or...
Putin, Zelensky, Trump. And the war.
something where I can push my influence, let's say.
So who would they be? 3 people.
I'd really like to speak with Lewis Howe. So he does a big podcast in America. Also Mark Burris, because that's Australia based. And I really like, what is it, the Diary of a CEO.
Oh, Stephen Bartlett.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cracker 3.
That's what comes to me. I think that would be interesting.
That's a
Mike
awesome
Morris is
three.
pretty cool
That
as
would be a top table to sit.
Yeah, it would.
Well, Sasha, thank you for taking the trip out to see us. It
That was great. There were, look, there was some controversy. There was some great advice. There were some techniques Ben's going to take home.
Thanks.
And
Can we say a caveat? Like, we're all in good, happy relationships.
I'm great. Man, I'm in the RP sphere. I'm doing great.
But we always like to ask questions, obviously, that we think our viewers, would ask.
And us.
And also ourselves, right? We want to be better husbands. I want to be a better father. We're on a mission to continually develop ourselves, So having people like yourself in our corner is important to us too. So we appreciate your time for coming out and being on the Connect podcast.
One last thing, Sasha, we end every episode with pointing to the camera and say, let's connect on 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's connect. All right. Thank you very much, guys.
Cut everything else out.
We made this a free platform because we want to educate and add value to your business world. All we ask for as a payment is to hit the subscribe button and share it with people that you know would benefit from this conversation. If you want to elevate your connections, we'll see you at the next Connect MacArthur event.